Hey there, everybody. This is Kristin from Teaching Balance, and I am here with you with this week's mindfulness meditation practice. And we are in the month of letting go, and we have explored it through a couple of different lenses, what that means, what are we letting go, all of that sort of thing. And I thought that it would be a nice opportunity for this week for us to explore the idea of letting go of stress. Now, to give you a little bit more of a background, we can't control stressors in most cases. Things are going to happen. That's just life. And while it's useful for us to attempt to manage how we respond to a stressor and to what degree we allow ourselves to become stressed, that's nice, and obviously our mindfulness practice helps to support that. Ultimately, the impact is made on us that we get stressed, whether we've managed it to some degree or we're just, under-resourced in some way, and it just hits us harder than perhaps we would have preferred. And so, in light of that, and along with this theme of letting go, I wanted to revisit something that I've actually talked about in the past, which is this idea of completing the stress cycle. I talked about it, I think it was about a year ago, actually, maybe even 2 years ago. And this idea of completing the stress cycle comes from this book called Burnout. I think I've talked about it before. The Secret of Unlocking the Stress Cycle. So if you've not heard about this book or have read this book, it's by the Ngozi sisters, Emily and Amelia. It's fantastic. And there's so much to it, but of course this isn't a book review video. This is talking about completing the stress cycle. So even though I've explored it before, I wanted to revisit it. So the idea is this. After you're stressed, unlike animals in the wild, we do not have as natural of an instinct on how to shake off or let go of that stress cycle, where it's the stressor, the stress response, and then it ends, and how do we reset? How do we get back to our more regulated state? And so the authors of this book give you a list of things that physiologically will help you to complete the stress cycle, or in other words, to let go of that stressor so that you can move forward with your day in a way that's more regulated, healthier, and in a better place so that you don't hang on to that stress. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get stressed again. However, here are the various ones. So they say the single most efficient strategy for completing the stress response cycle is physical activity. So going for a brisk walk, doing some jumping jacks. I mean, obviously it depends on where you are and the circumstances, but that is super powerful. Deep breathing is also another way to complete the stress cycle. Sometimes our bodies do it automatically, like we don't even consciously make the choice to do it, but that is an option. Positive social interaction, so getting together with other people, even if it's for a quick, you're not going to believe what just happened to me sort of thing. Laughter, sometimes, just some going online and just finding something that makes you laugh or having something funny available to you, whether it's a book or, whatever it might be. Any kind of laughter can help to close that stress cycle as well. Affection, so physical affection, and they specifically reference something called the 6-second kiss, which sounds fantastic. Also hugging. Hug someone you love and trust for 20 full seconds. Just yesterday, I almost wiped out walking onto my back patio, and even though I was okay, I did not twist my ankle, even though it seemed as though I might. I was so spooked by the whole thing that I went inside and gave my husband a really big hug just to calm myself down, just to let it out. Also, just letting it out can take the form of crying, just letting the tears come and the sobs if that's something that you are capable of. Not everyone is. And then the other one is some kind of creative expression. Obviously, that might not happen right in the moment, but that's another one that helps to complete the stress cycle. So again, this book is called Burnout, The Secret of Unlocking the Stress Cycle. It's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Now, what we just discussed is not necessarily going to carry over into our meditation. However, just as a reminder, all the meditations that we do really are very powerfully reinforcing and strengthening your capacity for your self-awareness. And so what's nice about that is it allows you to more inherently and spontaneously have insight into your mental state. So even if you're not necessarily experience or you don't necessarily experience a very profound stressor, a lot of times our stress levels ratchet up over the course of the day, whether it's a work day or even in our regular personal lives. And so by strengthening our self-awareness, our capacity to be mindful and aware of what's going on in our internal experience, that can really help support us so that we can use these tools as mentioned by completing this stress cycle. So let's go ahead and strengthen our self-awareness with 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation. I'm going to start my timer. Let's go ahead and just settle in. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Noticing I already took a few deep breaths. It's automatic now. It might be for you as well. And if you didn't, let's go ahead and take a moment to enjoy a few slow, deep belly breaths. If it's supportive to you, you can even put your hand on your abdomen and really feel that expansion. And if you ever meditate lying down, it's also especially interesting allowing your hand to rise and fall on those deeper inhales and exhales. Depending on your preferred anchor or tether for your awareness, you can rest your attention on the breath or sensations associated with the breath. You can listen to sounds from moment to moment, noting them. You can also rest your awareness on your body, either in its entirety or just one part. Whatever feels easy for you today. Letting go of any expectations around this practice, any aspirations for it to be a certain way, or as good as or better than some other time. And instead just being deeply aware of and accepting of how it is. So if you feel particularly fidgety or your mind is racing, you have a lot of busyness mentally, then that's all you're noticing. You're just noticing your busy mind without any judgment. And every time your mind wanders into planning or thinking, and then you notice, and that noticing is the sweet spot of awareness, and then you just bring your attention back to whatever anchor feels appropriate to you. noticing where the mind is. And if it's wandered into thought, remembering that's not a problem. Just gently escorting your attention back to the present moment. No big deal. It happens over and over and over again. That's part of the procedure. And then once you come back, allowing yourself to settle again with a quality of interest, curiosity for whatever your moment-to-moment experience may be. Okay, that's our 10 minutes. So again, the invitation for this week is to let go of the physiological impacts of stress by closing the stress cycle in all of the various ways that I listed at the beginning. Things like physical activity, physical contact with a loved one or friend, deep breaths, being around others in a social way. Sometimes it's just about letting out the tears, or also having a good hearty laugh. So I'm sure there were others, but that's the few that come to mind. So as always, thank you so much for taking this time for yourself. And thank you for allowing me to accompany you on this journey. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.